your 50%. And what I mean by that is I'm going to invite you right now to think, why am I in this course? What was I hoping for? Secondly, so what's your motivation for coming here? Can you open up yourself for learning a different way of dealing with life? If so, we're going to talk about the ultimate protection, which is called Buddhist refuge. From a Buddhist point of view, they think there's a bunch of things you can do with your life, your thinking, your speech, and the rest that gives you a real protection from the things we don't like in our lives, and protection from watching the things we do like in our lives from disappearing. Yeah, so we all have things we like and we watch them slip away. We all have things we don't like and we're trying to push them away, and we go to all sorts of different things for protection, for hope. Buddhists say there's just a couple of things that will really do that. And so that's what we'll cover today and on Thursday, this idea of Buddhist refuge, wake-upist refuge. And there's a bunch of information for those that are really heady, and we're not going to go to those depths, but you will be able to think, how do I apply the essence of this to my life? By the end of today, you'll be able to do that. In order to do that, you need to think, where do I need real protection? What's bothering me in my life for real? Yeah, not I would like more money, or, or I would like a boyfriend, or I would like no gut. Yeah. Whatever the story that we have about, if I do this, then I'll be happy. If I do this, then I won't be unhappy. We all have something like that. Yeah. And things like that bother our minds come and go, but there is a pattern of the main thing. There's always a main thing that follows us. Yeah. I'm always the one that doesn't get this, or I'm always the one that people don't like, or I'm always the lonely one. There's a pattern in our minds that if we found real protection from that thing, we could really shift 90% of our existence. Let's say we can't fix all of it, right? But what if you could get rid or put at peace that main thing that keeps you small, that main thing that brings you trouble, Example, I always find that shitty boss that doesn't respect me. No one respects me, or whatever the story is, right? We have words like always, and it's a pattern. I'm going to invite each of you, just before we start, to think, if I could get real protection about one main thing in my life that could fix many things, what is that for you? Yeah. And it's a kind of mental addiction to a state of mind. Yeah. Whether it's genuine, validated or not, it's still there. Your mind still engages with it that way. And that's what we'll investigate through Buddhist refuge. Can I get a thumbs up if that sounds like a good deal for today's class? Yeah, thank you for letting me do that to you. Thank you. Oh, we got some professional emoji thumbs up. Thanks, Emily. Good. So, many more. Thanks, David. These are all the people that are doing teacher training too. They're all like, yes. So thanks so much. Think about that one thing, because in that hope that something can fix it. What if we can find that thing? And that's what this class is about. Really, all the textual debates and story comes down to that in this class today and on Thursday. What is Buddhist refuge? Real protection. Can it be found? And if we can, how would it work? We'll investigate that today. We'll get to a uncomfortable awareness by the end of this class, and hopefully we can give you some comfortable resolution by Thursday. Good? Good. Now, my job is to be mean and disable the chat. Is that what I'm doing, Stephen? Disable the chat. Actually, Steve, are you able to do that, or is it just me? Give me a thumbs up if you can do that. You cannot, so it's just me. So I'll disable the chat until we, an hour into the class, when we go into breakout groups with the exercise. Then you can chat all you want to each other, and then I'll give you instructions of what to come back to. Is that cool, everyone? Good, here we go. Disable chat. I feel all powerful all of a sudden. Participants can chat with no one. Thank you. I feel bad, I'm sorry. But hopefully we stay right here and not get distracted by side conversations, which are awesome and important. Okay, we can't start a class at 3 joules without this thing called oops, that's not what I was supposed to show you. Class 3, here we go. Class 3 is got to do with a bunch of things. Here we go. Let's do the prayer. Javier, you want to go for it?
Sure thing. All right. So before I do the chanting thing, ideally what you want to imagine is the most beautiful thing that can come to your mind. And you're offering this beautiful thing that comes to your mind to every being that can teach you in this earth. Okay, so have that in mind while you hear this noises, sounds, music. Se shi bugi shi me toktra Bera blinshi nindi gimpari Sangi shindu mite wargi Druku namda shingla suparsho Hiram guru rana mandala kam niriyatayami Sange chiran soki chognam la Yangchu bardu dagni kyapsuchi Daki chenyengi pesunam ki Drula benchir sange druparsho Sange chiran soki chognam la Yangchu pardu dagni kyapsuchi Daki chenyengi pesunam ki Drula penche sange druparsho Sange chiran zoki chognam la Yanchu bardu dagni kyapsuchi Daki chenyengi pesunam ki Drula penchira sange drupa shio.
Awesome. Thanks, Javier. So we're going to do what we would normally have done in these courses when they were live at 3 joules. And we're going to set our state of mind clearly. So we're going to do a 5-minute meditation. And in this meditation, we're going to be nice and still. Find your perfect spot, your perfect posture. I'm going to invite you to withdraw your senses from the stuff around you, noises, the room, just ignore it all. Yeah, nobody needs your attention for the next 5 minutes, unless you've got a baby, and then that's just mute yourself and enjoy. But importantly,
Please, you can mute the baby.
can you place your mind on mute, ignoring the old stories, and be really quite present? No other distractions worth attending to. Nothing about the future or the past or anything like that, except the thing that we're going to talk about tonight. Is there something, this is what we'll meditate on, is there something that I could really use some help with, that if I understood real protection from that problem, my life would be way better, way more what I want my life to be. So first minute or so, just settle your body, bring your attention to the breath at the tip of your nostril, or just feel extremely present with every inhale and exhale, letting your mind be aware that you're right here, right now, and nothing else. Let's spend a minute like that. Enjoying the inhale and exhale, bring the mind to calmness, to stillness. With every exhale, try and remove the urge to fidget, physically at first and then mentally, and relax and commit to being present right here, right now. Every exhale. Feeling very stable, just check for any tension, particularly on the brow, edges of the lips, so a tiny Mona Lisa smile releases the face, uplifts the mind. And keep breathing naturally through the nostrils. Now I invite you to think if there is something that can help you overcome any or all the patterns that bother you, things in your life that are constantly stopping you from abiding in joy, really being present, things that keep showing up, you don't want them anymore. If there was something or someone that could help you, what shape would they take in front of you? How would it feel? So maybe you can sense a presence, a light, a shape, or an idea. Imagine that you are close to whatever that protection is. That because you've thought of it, it's close to you and your understanding. So just spend a couple of minutes here imagining you're close. You could understand how to overcome anything. And that would bring peace of mind. And then lastly, I invite you to think that what it would feel like if you had taken up that understanding, if you really figured it out, if you no longer had the trouble, if you are genuinely protected. How would it feel? To me, it's like a massive exhale. This weight off my shoulders, I could move through life differently. If that burden wasn't there, if the story had changed or resolved itself, if I'd internalized that understanding, in essence, try and imagine how your mind would be, how your body would feel if you were free from the thing that you need protection from. It should feel kind of uplifting and joyful. Try and step into that. Enjoy having this lightness of being. And if you can, add to it the wish that you could help others reach it too, once you've understood it. If you could find your mind at ease, feel truly protected, found the answers for you, try and generate this wish that you could help others to find this place within them. And imagining that that possibility could come true, begin to withdraw and come back to the room. Take a nice deep inhale, flutter your eyes open, and stare at your screen. I don't know. Enjoy the next person that smiles at you on the Zoom call, if you can see that. Thanks for joining us, everyone. That's what we usually do at 3 Joules, and it's thanks to Anthony, who's one of our board members, and Lily, who's there, that said, hey, why don't we go back to that, get people grounded. I'm like, thanks, Anthony. So you can take that, Anthony. Good on you. Thanks. Good man. So here's a little recap from last week. Yeah, we talked about this thing called bodhicitta, but the entire course has 3 big ideas. Do you remember those? Can someone put up their hands and say, I remember? Let's see if you remember the 3 big ideas that, so Anne, you did, right? So the essence of last week was really, of the last week was, there's 3 states of mind. If we develop them, that can liberate us. Yeah, if we develop these 3 states of mind, and it makes sense if you look at it at high level. The first one is renunciation, which doesn't mean all these weird stories. It basically means I'm sick and tired of trying the same old, and not getting a big result. So I'm not going to get happy in getting a promotion or getting the boyfriend or getting these things. There's a different way of engaging with reality that could work out better for me, because the old way of doing things hasn't worked out. And it's not depressive and it's not negative. We tend to go there at the beginning. It just means you can still go get a job, you can still go get a boyfriend, but a different state of mind of yours has to engage with that, to say, let go of the old way. There's a different way to engage with that. And if I do that, if I understand that, this renunciation, that the happiness isn't out there. Remember I did the pen thing? That there's something in my mind that forces the experience. If I work in here, then it doesn't matter what's in front of me, I can figure it out. And then anything can bring me ultimate happiness. It doesn't have to hurt me. So that understanding needs to develop and mature over time. And so we grow that renunciation. The trick that you're going to get happy with the career, the trick that you're going to get happy with the status. If that were true, everyone with a career and a status would be ecstatic, and they're not. Yeah. So there's a different way, and I want to investigate that way. So I want to wish to wake up from the facade that seems to be trapping me. So that's the first state of mind from last week. The second state of mind is this wish that if I could wake up that way, then I could really help others around me who are also suffering, tricked into thinking that if they get the job, if they get the girlfriend, if they get the boyfriend, if they get the status, they'll be happy. That's not where happy exists. Happy exists in my mind. If I develop the mind, then I'll be happy, not in the 20 ice creams of dulce de leche. So then that second thing is this bodhicitta. And we talked about 2 ways of getting bodhicitta. So this is the 2 of the 3 principal paths. And there was a meditation practice that you can take off the cushion called Tonglen, and Javier gave us some examples. And basically it's this mind game you play of, if I could remove everyone's suffering and give them instead every happiness, that begins to seed your mind with that possibility. And it's that seeding of your mind that makes that reality eventually translate into your actions, which eventually translates into a result in your life. And then there was this really complicated 7-part cause and effect of producing bodhicitta, where essentially you go through this mental logic process that says, hold on, I'm deeply connected to everyone. And they are more or less my mother. They took care of me 1,000 times. I should take care of them. So that was basically the essence of last course. But it was all dependent on this idea of things don't have a nature by themselves. There's no penness radiating from this object. The whole experience of it comes from my mind. Now we're going to go figure out what the hell do I need to do to my mind to make this not just a pen that breaks, but an ultimate thing, because it's possible with logic, right? And then practice. So that's basically where we're at in the big ideas of Buddhist thought. In this week, we cover the idea of Buddhist refuge. Can something really protect me? As I go about my life, plenty of hardships will come our way. If you haven't figured it out already, look at the state of the country. If you haven't figured it out already, doesn't matter how pretty you look, you can have mental unrest. Doesn't matter how rich you are, you can have physical problems. Doesn't matter. People will like you, not like you. There'll be problems here. Pretending that there isn't is a problem. Yeah, because then you're disappointed. So is there something that can prevent me from feeling suffering in relationship to these things? Can my experience of these things and the things themselves be transcended? So then this week, we're talking about looking for that. And it's powerful because Buddhists call it refuge. Yeah. So a couple of things I'd like to invite you to consider. Buddhists, not a religion. Buddhists, not a group of monks and nuns. Buddhists as an human possibility to Buddha, to wake up. To Bud is to wake up to the illusion that things can satisfy you. That's not how things exist. There's something in me that produces an experience of a thing. And then I have Buddha woke up to the reality. Now you can get to work with the real cause and effect of life versus being lost in a misunderstanding where the world comes from. And this pen is just representative of everything we engage with. Does that make sense? We're just on the catch up so far. So far, can I get thumbs up? Good. So we are in, what's Buddhism? We just got the Buddha saying, you need to develop these 3 principal paths. Renunciation, forget doing things the old way. Without that, you're not going to look for a new way that will really fix it. That new way is think to liberate yourself and everyone else. Good. That really is a powerful way to figure it out. Number 3 from last week is the reality of things is not the way they appear. There's an ultimate way that things appear. Yeah? Karma and emptiness. Karma and emptiness. Correct view of reality. Correct view, ultimate correct view of things is they don't have a nature. That nature comes from me. So now we've done all of last week. We've got some. Now we're going to go deeper into some of the other concepts. And today's class, now I'm going to go fast through all the homework questions, and we're going to spend, Javier and I are going to spend a bit of time on the practicality of putting into practice the practice of refuge. So for those of you who are heady doing the readings and the homeworks and quizzes, these slides will be up on Thinkific. You'll see all the answers here for all the homeworks and quizzes. If you're doing it live now, go ahead and write them or take a screenshot and then do it. But I'll rush through these, yeah? So essentially, this is where the texts for this course comes from. Javier, did you want to share something? No? Good.
I was just making motions of moving fast.
Okay. Come on, move fast, Hector.
Through the slides.
So you're going to come to this idea of the perfection of wisdom, or Prajnaparamita. And there's so much to tell you about here. I'm not going to tell you very much at all. It basically the collection of works on emptiness. Yeah, it's the Prajnaparamitas it means so many things in Buddhism, and you'll hear this word, and it's important not to misunderstand it. Right? Perfection of wisdom. Can you perfect wisdom? Can you perfect your understanding? And to do that, there's a bunch of texts that you can study, with meditations you can do, and ways of looking at the world and engaging with the world. And that collection is also called Yum, or the mother, because the collection of books that relate to emptiness, all the stuff the Buddha said and all the pandits that went after him, that relate to the pen not coming this way, but this way, the emptiness of things. They are called the mother collectively because they give birth to Buddhas. They birth enlightened minds. And so that's pretty cool. I think that there's a whole library of stuff. You can look up what gives birth to wake-upists, Buddhists. It's this collection of books, and they call them the Prajnaparamitas, the perfection of wisdom sutras. Yeah. Uh, it's a monastic study. It's also the sixth perfection for those of you who have studied that. But it's mainly the realization of emptiness. So when I do the pen thing, and this doesn't have a nature, it couldn't have a nature, it comes from us, you already have a perception of emptiness. This is empty of being pen by itself, because it's a chew toy for a dog or a pen for humans. By itself, with no humans and no dogs, it is empty of any nature until someone experiences it. You already have a perception of emptiness, all of you. That's intellectual. And it'll disappear in 3 seconds when you get angry at the dog. Yeah, because it chewed your good pen. But it's already in your mind. You already possess a kind of realization, intellectual realization of emptiness. Now imagine for a second that it were possible for you to habituate that understanding so much so that you can't look at anything without realizing its emptiness. Imagine that's so second nature to you that if someone yells at you, you're like, oh, the emptiness of the sound. You can't get angry because you're abiding in its ultimate existence. Now, if I don't want people to yell at me, I shouldn't yell back, I'll be kind. And you live through that understanding. Imagine that, right? So then you would have a more internalized realization of emptiness. And even that comes and goes intellectually. At some point, you'll have a direct perception of emptiness that is unshakable. And that's called the direct perception of emptiness. We'll talk about that. So the important thing about this word, prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom that understands emptiness, is when you understand emptiness with this wish to wake everyone up. When you understand that, that's also called the perfection of wisdom. Sorry, can you hear terrible sounds in the background? I forgot I had silly sounds. This was mostly to entertain me. Yeah. Now you're entertained. So basically, I just said that, right? The perception of emptiness under the influence of bodhicitta. So imagine you've habituated your mind, like get this as a feeling if you can. Imagine you're walking in the subway or you're driving down the street and you see suffering. You're seeing, like at the moment, I'm having suffering in my life by watching two of my sisters argue and I'm the guy in between. And they're saying terrible things to each other. And it hurts, right, to see them do that. Imagine being able to have this wish, second nature come out of you that if there was a way to stop them, whatever's causing her hurt and her hurt could completely disappear and they would instead use that energy to love each other. It's possible if we figured out how. So this wish that every being, no matter who's right, who's wrong, what they're doing, could just be at peace. If I could just help them. So this wish, and I need to wake up to figure that out. Imagine that as second nature walking around your day. Now, if that has become second nature to you and you're meditating about the nature of reality and at some point you have a direct experience of emptiness, those two things combine. The mind with this kindness to get everybody free from suffering and the experience of reality, emptiness itself, is called prajnaparamita, the perfection of wisdom. It's perfected because it applies to everyone. Make sense? Big Buddhist concept. You can spend 10 years thinking about that and you're going to, it's not something you pick up in a class and then move on and go back to your normal life. To have a wake up experience, it needs to be imbuing every action of mind, speech, and body. Yeah. So that's something for you all to think about. Let's talk about refuge. Remember that thing you all thought about? If I just had some protection. So there's some basic conditions that we constantly seek protection for. People get sick and there's nominal protection, right? What do we go to when we get sick? Someone
Doc.
unmute yourself. Huh?
Doc. Doctor.
There we go. Doctors and nurses. Thank you. Yeah. What about when someone steals from us, takes stuff away from us?
The police.
Correct. This is now a bingo game. Okay. Like our minds naturally go, if the police was here, what about when we don't have enough? You know, like when things are ripped away, we lost our home, or we don't have enough. Who do we go to protection for? Where do we think we'll be saved by? If we have lack, if we don't have resources, where do we think if we just had
Government.
Bank.
government?
Mom.
Mom. Why mom? Because she's got mullah, right? If she had
Bank.
Money.
So, you know, the rich or the abundant or those that have more, mom, the rich. And here is my favorite. I did this when we were warring in the Middle East, this silly Lego things. When we feel threatened, yeah, terrorists, the spy, the person that's hurting us as a society, when we feel physically threatened, right, this is the one that we have a very strong reaction to. We don't just, how do we respond? Where do we think we're going to get it fixed? If someone hurts us, what do we think is the right way, the automatic way to get it fixed? Anyone?
Canada.
Huh?
Go to Canada.
Anna, stop it. You're distracting me. I'm supposed to be a serious teacher of Buddhism. Yeah. If someone threatens you, what's your impulse?
Threaten back.
Flower breach.
Yeah, you hurt me, I hurt you, right? And we do that really well here. Like, okay, keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, and maybe they'll stop. They won't, okay? Okay, what if you're lonely? What do you think if you feel lonely? What do you think the automatic refuge for most of us in general is? You know?
Grinder.
Yeah, if we just find a lover, right? If we just get a nice little sexy lover. But in Buddhist philosophy, these are all temporal things. They'll come and go. The lover you'll hate. You'll be annoyed. At some point, you've all had this. The first time you met your lover, they brushed their teeth before bed, right? They're with you for 3 weeks or a month or something, you know, and then 3 months. Then there's Dutch ovens and like there's all this progress, right? Like there's all this extra stuff. You didn't bargain for that. Well, not at the beginning. And maybe you can keep that love growing and maybe you don't. But things change. The doctors change. At some point, no doctor can help you. At some point, no police person can help you. At some point, no lover can stop it. Yeah? Either they'll physically leave or you'll have to leave first. So from a Buddhist perspective, thinking that the essence of that protection is out there is the mistake that causes those things to go away. Because you're putting all your hopes on that, and that thing changes. It won't sustain the thought. So that's the wrong place, according to Buddhists, to put your hopes on, because those are guaranteed to go away. Do you get that? It's a big idea, yeah? Because then we are left with, well, what the hell should I do when someone robs me? What the hell should I do when someone hurts me? Right? That's worth investigating. But from a Buddhist, a wake-upist, let's wake up to the fact that at some point you won't get protection from a doctor. You just can't. It doesn't work that way, not in reality. And that's why we get disappointed, because they're like, but I went to the best doctor. You know, when my mom had cancer, we went to the best doctor. She died of cancer. Other people went to the same doctor, they lived. If I put my hopes on the doctor, and you know, like I saw some people get angry at the doctor, you hurt my mom. It can't be the doctor, there's something else at work. And if we understand the nature of things, maybe we could find the source of the hurt and stop it, put in place different strategy. Does that make sense? We're entering Buddhist refuge, right? Which starts off by saying, whatever the hell you're putting your hopes in, if it's temporary and if it's outside of you, you're in trouble. because it will disappoint you. And that just creates more hurt. And that's this cycle. Is that make some sense at least? Can you take that up as some insight? Yeah, we've got some thumbs. Good, thank you. Let me see if I can say your name again. Oh, I don't see it there. Dimaya? No, forgot it. I can't see it. Anyway, all of those temporal things that we put our hopes on, all of them just eventually just go away. They get eaten up, yeah? And so Buddhists, wake-upists go, is there anything at all that can totally stop these cycles of suffering for us? And it's worth asking the question, just in case we can find an answer. And that's the entry to being a true wake-upist. I want to wake up from the falsehood that the doctor will help me. Now, I need to give you a warning. It doesn't mean doctors don't help, because our minds do that, right? Oh, if the doctor doesn't have the power, that's it. I get sick, I won't go to the doctor. Not the point. Go to the doctor. But the chances of whether or not they help you are not dependent on the doctor. We're trying to find out, where do those realities come from? And remember, the hint is in there. Good? Yeah. Good, good, good. So let's have a look at refuge. Oh, okay. It's the most fundamental of Buddhists' ideas, right? Now, they say normal refuge is a state of mind that of its own accord, the mind jumps to something for assistance, like the doctor, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, and so on, right? That's normal refuge, and we just talked about how it goes away. I'm here to give you a smorgasbord of what we humans tend to go to refuge for. We all have the money refuge, yeah? We all have the yummy food refuge, dulce de leche, status, excellence, sports, rush of energy, and then kink. We get a little bit of kink refuge. If I just had the right kink in whatever that looks like in my life, physical, mental, whatever, then I'll get happy. I mean, the problem with that and all of them is then you want that extra kink, you know, or that better mushroom, or that extra filet mignon, or whatever you think. And then you need more, and then you need more, and then you need more, and then you need more. Here's the theory from the Buddhists. They're like, all those things exist, they come and go. You can get pleasure and pain, no problem, but that's not where your protection lies. They say your real protection, capital R, is understanding reality. Now, you would have heard this if you've been around Buddhists, right? Buddhist refuge is refuge in the three jewels. And lucky we're all studying in the three jewels, right? So there's refuge in the Buddha, in the Dharma, and in the Sangha. And that's what Javier chanted at the beginning, right? I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. And being good Buddhists, I'm going to ask you to consider, or good wake-upists, if that's true, I take refuge in the Buddha. This thing here next to me, depiction of the Buddha, can that protect me? This is a Buddha. Lawrence, like, no. Right? Sorry, something rentals says no. Right? So what are they talking about? There's something about Buddha that, according to wake-upists, can ultimately protect you, not temporarily, really, really protect you. Yeah? Dharma, what is Dharma? It's the Buddhist books or the lectures from the Buddha, the words from the Buddha. Yeah? This wisdom or phenomena. Yeah, it has all these meanings. Can the books protect you? Can this piece of paper help me when I'm hurting? And you've got to think about it and be, if you want a truth, you've got to go look for the truth unequivocally, right? And Sangha usually means monks and nuns, right? So can the Dalai Lama stop my suffering if I go to him? And if we understand this, we can go to the Dalai Lama with a different state of mind and he might help us. But if we don't, we'll go to the Dalai Lama and it'll be like talking to a statue, because the suffering's not in the thing, it's in here. So Javier, you want to go for what really sits behind the Buddhist refuge. It's not just the Buddha or just the Dharma, or just the Sangha. You want to share some?
Yeah, sure. So the main thing that sits behind all this is, again, this idea of emptiness and the pen, right? The Buddha jewel, because that's the other thing. We take refuge on the Buddha jewel, the Dharma jewel, and the Sangha jewel, the three jewels. And this jewel refers to that idea that what you conceive as the Buddha's mind is empty from being the Buddha's mind on its own, and you have the seeds within your mind. You have taken the actions and you have had the thoughts and said the words in the past that allow you to perceive that as a potential, as being a reality. And the other reason being, if the Buddha's mind is empty from its own side, your mind has that same quality of being empty from its own characteristics. So you could potentially perceive your mind with the right causes and conditions to be an enlightened mind, a woken up mind. The same with the teachings. The teachings and the books don't mean anything just by being books. Those letters in the books will do nothing. What is important about this jewel, the Dharma jewel, is really the realization that you have on your path, the realizations that you have on your path. Understanding that these realizations, you can also only perceive them because there are causes in your mind stream to allow you to perceive them, to force you actually to perceive them. Not even just allow you, to force you into the perception of this teaching as a teaching. Because if you don't have those causes, this can sound like crazy hippies from the 70s, or it can sound like crazy Buddhists from 2,000 years ago. And the same with the Sangha jewel, the community of monks or enlightened beings or angels or whatever name you want to put it. What you're really taking refuge on is the fact that they don't possess a quality of being an angel from its own side, or an enlightened being from its own side, or a holy monk from its own side. But you actually have, you and everyone else can perceive them as such because we plant the correct causes and conditions to get there. So bottom line, all the three jewels, you're really taking refuge on the idea that nothing is what it seems to be, and it only is what we perceive it to be, because we have the programming and the habits in our mind to see that. They just have three different names because everything is broken down in different systems. But bottom line, with every experience that you have, it's empty from having inherent qualities outside from your perception.
Just a little clarification. Awesome, thank you. Just to summarize what Javier just said, a mind perceived by a Buddha for themselves, like they are experiencing everything as bliss, right? But they have consciousness exactly like you have consciousness, and that consciousness is empty of a nature. The experience they're having depends on something else. But the mind itself, consciousness itself, it could be amazing or terrible. We know that just in the human realm, right? The fact that a Buddha could exist means that my mind has exactly that same potential. My mind is empty of a nature, and if I do the right courses, it can have an experience of itself as being free from suffering. Totally possible. So that really protects you. It really protects you, because every suffering is temporary. And if I figure out exactly what I need to do to have a wake up mind, my mind can be exactly like that of a Buddha who is completely free from suffering. You already have that potential in you now. You have it right now as you're listening. So that next time you have a big problem, you remember that and you take refuge in that fact, and it can protect you because it will drive the right action from you. Now, emptiness itself, the realization of emptiness, I alluded to in the direct perception of emptiness. And until you have that, you're only having intellectual experiences of emptiness and approximations to what we are saying that things don't have a nature. You habituate that, you keep going to the gym and the emptiness gym and the emptiness gym, you'll start seeing it here and there and everywhere, in emotions, in thoughts, in people, in tastes, in everything, until it's so imbued in you that if you're meditating, at some point you're going to have this direct experience, ultimate realization of that fact, the fact that things don't have a nature. When you do that, that is like the ultimate protection out of these three. Nothing can change your mind. You're like, oh my God, I just saw the code in the matrix, understand it completely. Now let me get to work. You're invincible at that point, right? In terms of things can come and go, but you know what produces them. And so you now have the key to your matrix. That realization, that is a deep realization of emptiness, not intellectual, but in meditation, that is the key that unlocks everything. And lastly, this is where the correction was, Javier. The Sangha jewel is those beings that you know or understand to have had that direct perception, who can teach you how to get there, who say, look, this is what emptiness is. The experience of it in meditation is like this, and you can go to them because they'll give you a fast track to having that realization yourself, right? So there's people that have had this realization. You want to go hang out with them. It's like wanting to learn piano and going to Javier's kid, who's probably got a little piano, right? Go teach me piano. Or a concert pianist saying, I've played for all of my life in concert piano. You want to learn piano, and Javier's kid, Nico, probably can teach you how to play with piano versus someone who could use the tools of piano to do a concerto. Very big difference. Someone who's really lived piano versus someone who's beginning to understand piano. And so the last refuge is find someone that knows emptiness in an experiential way. If you can't, go someone that's got some deep understanding of it intellectually, enough to help me figure out how to apply it to my life. And that, according to wake-upists, Buddhists, is real protection. Because thinking the cop is going to help you, problem. Thinking the doctor's ultimately going to help you, problem. And here's where it gets tricky. Because you have to go to the doctor if you get sick. But whether or not you have the right seeds that project that experience as help or not is another story. And that'll be course 5 in three weeks, Javier, 2 weeks. Yeah. And then we get to the minutia of that. You get to be wake-upists that want to figure it out. So does that sit in your mind? Is that okay? Can I get that? Good. It's a different way of looking at reality. Okay. Not even these teachings that we're sharing are going to help you. They're empty of a nature. Whether or not you're experiencing these sounds as meaningful and, oh my God, I figured it out, or God is boring. Yeah. I can't help you with that. That's your mind doing something on exactly the same syllables. Yeah. Like we got a ton of feedback from last week, and some were like, this is the most amazing, yummy thing we've ever had. And other people are like, oh my God, can you just get on with it? Or can you give me more detail? Like we got this feedback. And I can't force that perception on you. Understanding that is a little bit of refuge. Why that's true, that's a little bit of refuge. So in the rest of the class, I want to go quickly through all your answers, take a snapshot, but we want to get into applying this refuge into those problems we talked about, to the big things. Yeah. Here is a long definition of refuge for those that are doing the heavy homework. Enjoy. Here, I'm not going to go through it, but I'm going to go through this next part that moves our understanding of emptiness into an experience of emptiness. So you know where in all the wake-uppers, it's a Buddhist course, right? Overview of how to apply Buddhist thought. I want to go do that. In essence, one of the jewels, the most important one, the Dharma jewel, is your understanding and realization of reality that actually protects you. And here is why. If this is empty of a nature, if people attacking me are empty of a nature, if feeling lonely is empty of a nature, the nature that I'm perceiving in that comes from my relationship to that in the past. If I want to stop causing harm to me, I need to seed my mind with no harm to others. And this is where you get this Buddhist perception, no harm, right? It's enlightened self-interest. We're creating no harm so we don't get harmed. It's not like, oh, I love you so much, Chrissy, I'm going to be kind to you. I don't care about you. I want to wake up. So I'm going to, even if you're a total animal to me, I'm going to do my best to treat you with the highest kindness, because I know if I'm experiencing some negativity from you, it's got something to do with my mind, whether I remember it or not, whether I intended it or not, forget it. I've figured it out now. Any perceived negativity has something to do with my mind. I'm going to stop that in my mind. Chrissy becomes the vehicle through which I now plant a new seed of kindness, of wisdom, of love. Love thy neighbor. No, love thy enemy and thy neighbor. And thy Chrissy. Sorry, Chrissy, to be nasty. And so all of a sudden you take power and it really protects you, especially if you see the results of those seeds you just planted soon. If you don't, you're still in the mouth of misunderstanding. So it's your realizations that protect you. And that's why practicing this thing is where you're going to get this thing to work. Me telling you ain't going to do it. Javier showing you ain't going to do it. Telling you nice stories, it's just keeping you interested, hopefully. Until you say, here's my big problem. I'm going to do an experiment. If things come from me, I'm acting in an opposite way from now on. If I no longer want harm towards me, doesn't matter what, I'll try my hardest to not harm a single thing, to not let harm appear in my mind. Sustain that for 3 to 6 months and then watch your life. Watch your state of mind. And if you want a reference to that, you can check out my TED talk on how to get rid of your angry boss, how to get rid of the angry boss, Hector Marcel, how to get rid of the angry boss. And it gives you a condensed version of the kind of experiment you need to do to prove to yourself you can wake up. And it's your mind that changes. It's not the world around you. And eventually the world around you changes because your mind changed. Make sense? Am I hurting your brains? Am I boring it? Okay. Enjoy. Here is a little graphic I prepared earlier. There's this thing called the 5 paths from thinking the world is my problem to realizing I have woken up and removed all suffering. Before we enter the wake uppers path, the personal responsibility to transform my reality, which will transform my reality, we're just like obsessed with external factors. We're like zombies doing what we've been told to do, and we think we're going to find happiness in dulce de leche, in girlfriends, in boyfriends, in jobs, in career, in haircuts, and all those things. And all you need to do is look ahead at your friend, your mentor, everyone else. They're unhappy at 40, 50, 80, 100. That, you know, some problem will come to them, unless you found some of those Sangha refuges that can really show you how to wake up. And if they do, or if you encounter a really big problem, you might enter the first of these things called the 5 paths, right? Which is the path of accumulation, where you are beginning to get, you're beginning to wake up because you're starting this renunciation state of mind. You've had some problem, some dilemma, some trouble that said, sugar, there's got to be another way. It's not in the boyfriends anymore. It's not in the careers anymore. It's not in dressing up anymore. I need to find another way. There's something else at work here. That renunciation enters you into the path of accumulating insights, investigating reality, saying, shit, it's not, pens don't make me happy by themselves. What is it really? And then you're genuinely trying to investigate your world, your phenomena. Where's the real source of my hurt or my happiness? So in that path of accumulation, after you've had some kind of dilemma or epiphany, you enter the path of preparation. According to Buddhists, right? Everyone goes, every spiritual tradition, every person that's woken up from any human condition will go through these things. There's a problem. Oh my goodness, I've got to figure out the problem. Renunciation lets me accumulate knowledge. Yeah. Then I found some clue, some key, karma and emptiness, karma and emptiness. Now I'm going to prepare my mind. I'm going to prepare to have an experience. Let me study. Let me practice. Let me do mini experiments. Let me try a different way. I'm preparing my mind to figure out this ultimate reality, yeah? Which if you keep doing it, it would lead you to a direct experience of this karma and emptiness, karma and emptiness. You enter what's called the path of seeing, where you see the ultimate nature of things. Wow, I figured out the matrix. Yeah, so that's called the path of seeing. And that's not the end. Some people, you'll see scriptures describing that state of epiphany of, oh, I just had a realization under a tree, totally frees you, but it doesn't. Some people call that nirvana. Yeah, it's a kind of bliss that lets you understand everything, but you're not free yet. There's still work to do. You still got old courses for garbage in your world. If you're still here and you've got a meat body, the meat body will rot. You still got to clean out those perceptions, right? And so there's this thing called the path of habituation, where you habituate your behavior to relate to what you saw in the path of seeing. If I really did see that my mind creates my reality, my mind creates the suffering in relation to objects or the bliss in relation to object, now I need to habituate my whole system, what I say, what I think, what I do, to actually produce a reality that I want. Zero suffering and always in bliss. And then you play around with time and deathlessness and like all sorts of weird stuff that people enjoy about Buddhism. But you can't get there without this simple thing, understanding where reality comes from. And then they say, once you've done that, you enter what's called the path of no more learning, which is your mind forced to experience your reality as nothing but bliss. Because you've caused it. It's like, it's a response, just like we currently have a response to threat to threaten, hatred to hate, pushed to push. Imagine having the same impulse with wisdom, you know? Love with love. And then all you're doing is generating wisdom and love. And your world is changed. The mechanics stays the same. Your consciousness does the same. So that's a lot to cover in a short time. Can I get 2 or 3 people asking a question, and then we'll give you a little breakout room discussion assignment. Someone want to ask something or say, hold on a minute, or I didn't know that.
I have
Someone?
a question.
Maya has a question. Okay, careful, Maya. She's a trick. Careful. Go on.
So if you are taking refuge in the 3 jewels,
Yeah.
and you get sick and you go to the doctor, or like you have this issue and you still go to the doctor, but that's empty and we should be taking refuge in the 3 jewels, do you do that at the same time as you go to the doctor?
Yeah, good. You take refuge going to the doctor in the car, going, the only way my car can get me to the doctor is because of the seeds in my mind projecting this reality of getting me to a doctor. You'd go for refuge in entering the doctor's office and saying they admitted me in time. That's also a projection from your mind based on emptiness, right? Meeting the doctor, the advice they give you or the treatment they give you is also empty of a nature. So your mind is automatic, or initially you're trying to get your mind to find the protection in the fact that things don't have a nature, and whatever nature you're experiencing comes from you to fabricate this reality that's particular for you, right? And so you have to go to the doctor because that's how we mechanically live through this life. But whether or not the doctor helps you or not is another story, right? Some people will walk out of that doctor's office very disappointed. Some of them will walk out of that with lots of hope. Some will actually get fixed, some will not. All of that doesn't come from the doctor. It didn't come from taking the car to the doctor. And so placing your mind there, actually, let me show you one more slide and then we'll break out into groups. It's a really good question. Because in this next slide, ladies and gentlemen, let's see. Is it here? Here. There's 5 kinds of refuges. And again, it's for the heady Buddhists, yeah? But these 5 kinds of refuge. Oops, sorry, forget. There's refuge. Sorry. Remember Earl, sorry. Remember Javier said there's the lesser, medium, and greater scope of practitioner? Yeah? It just means there are wake-upists like us who are like, I want to wake up, but their motivation is mostly to not have a worse experience than being human. I don't want to have a rebirth that's less than human. So I'm going to keep doing this Buddhist-y wake-up stuff so I can at least be human and enjoy a human life. That's called those people of a lesser scope. It's really an awesome scope. We don't even have that scope. We don't think we come back. We have another problem, right? But for Buddhists, they think my mind will continue. And as it continues, all the results of what I did this life, that's coming back to bother this mind. And I've hurt people and I've done that. So they're like, oh my God, I want to put all my hopes in the 3 jewels so I don't have a shittier life than my current life. That's already advanced compared to Westerners. So even though it's got the word lesser, it's not really, okay? Just so you know. Then there are people that go, I don't even want more human lives. This whole thing is broken. The whole planet Earth is going and coming. Is there a different way I can exist? Can I free myself completely from my mental afflictions and all the human suffering? So that's called the medium scope. People that are like, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to figure this out, I'm going to meditate and have a direct experience of emptiness because I just don't want another cycle here. I want to get Buddha now. Actually, I just want to be free from suffering for me. And there is another group of people going, not just for you, why not do it for the rest of the planet too? You're going to do the same bloody work, so why not just aim at everyone? And that's called the greater scope, Mahayana, yeah? The greater vehicle. You can carry more weight. And then, for those of you who are studying heady Buddhist stuff, there's course result, course refuge. Does anybody know that's been studying a while what course refuge is? Feel free to, if you're all Buddhist-y and you're geeking out on Buddhism, feel free to chip in.
That means you are taking a refuge depending like cause and the condition. It's like because there are reasons, so you have the resort.
Well, what could cause your freedom? What could cause your real protection?
Taking refuge in someone who has achieved that.
Who said that?
Enlightened being.
Who said
¿Quién dijo eso?
Diego.
Diego? Damn. That's awesome. Let me give you the definition. I had to look it up because I couldn't remember. Basically, it says any movement of the mind which acts of its own accord. So get this for refuge, right? So there's a problem. We go to the police. Naturally, of its own accord, our mind goes, go to the police, yeah? Or go to the lawyer or whatever. In Buddhist refuge, it's like any movement of the mind that acts of its own accord, meaning there's a problem in this human life. And of its own accord, this mind goes and puts all its hopes in any one of the 3 jewels, Buddha, Dharma, or Sangha jewel, as it's already been achieved by someone. Like a person that's seen emptiness directly, a Buddha, and a person in nirvana, anyone that's reached enlightenment, they can help me because you understand the 3 jewels in them, yeah? Because they are, in some essence, some part of themselves, the 3 jewels. That's called course refuge. And then there's a 5th refuge, those that geek out in Buddhism. What do you think and it's sort of the opposite of this one. What do you think another way of going for refuge in the 3 jewels?
Result refuge.
Is that a Rachel?
Yes.
It's my favorite refuge, y'all, and it's the easiest one to do. And it's correct. It's result refuge. It's if all things are empty of a nature and time has no beginning and no end, then Anthony, there is a future Anthony who's already enlightened, who's already done all the removal of suffering, who's understood all this, lived all this, and he might exist, or that consciousness might exist outside the realm of our time and space and understanding, because we're stuck in this perception. And he's already a Buddha. There's already a part of, there is a Anthony-ness that has already achieved wake-upness. There's a Chrissy-ness, there's an Ann-ness, there's an Eric-ness that's already that consciousness that sits within you is the past of some already enlightened being somewhere in time and space. And you sitting your ass down on your meditation cushion and thinking, what's that Chrissy look like now? And what's she thinking? And how is she feeling about my past self? She's probably sitting there going, hurry up, Chrissy. It's not that far. You just got to get rid of this and get rid of that. Meditate more, or whatever they're doing. You thinking in that mindset is taking refuge in your future enlightenment. And just placing your mind on that is powerful seeds that undoes the things that keep you in the broken. It's the most powerful, speedy refuge you can take. Yeah, because that future you has achieved all three of those three jewels. Yeah, their mind is empty and they're forced to perceive themselves as wise or free of suffering. Buddha Chrissy. Her actions are in accord with the reality. She sees the nature of things. She experiences it that way and she acts in accord. She's achieved the Dharma jewel, the realization ultimate reality. And she is a Sangha jewel. She is a person that has experienced emptiness directly and lives in accord with that. So thinking of your future self as already achieving that is like the fastest way to actually get refuge. It begins to change your mind about what's possible in your mind. And it's the most stunning thing. It really is stunning. Each of you, yeah, the Sam, future Sam, the future David, the future Sarah, yeah, they won't be called Sarah. They'll be called by some other name. And they'll be looking back at their history going, oh, of course, they sat in that weird ACI class at 3 Jewels in that mini course. And that's where they said, oh, maybe I can wake up. And that was the beginning or the middle or the closeness to the end. And actually placing your mind on that undoes so many of the smallness that keep us broken. But it needs to have these 3 qualities, right? It needs to, you have to have some problem. And then your mind needs to begin to habituate of its own accord to go to any of these refuges of the 3 jewels, yeah, in the hope that it will protect you. But to do that, you really have to understand this karma and emptiness thing. So ultimate result refuge is like the most stunning thing, yeah? There's a bunch of shit you need to let go of. And placing your mind on that possibility begins the unraveling for you. And that's stunning. Who answered that question? Maya, of course. Thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry I ate up into your breakout group time. Here is my challenge for you. We're going to break us up into, we have 82. We're going to break us up into 8 groups of 10, roughly. Actually 9 groups of less than 10. And I'm going to invite you to consider with each other. So we will only have 20 minutes to do this. And in those 20 minutes, please listen to the instructions. I want you to say, hi, I'm John from Texas. Yeah. I want to think of, I want to get protection from feeling too small, fear, lack of money, whatever your problem is. I don't care. Self-esteem. Yeah. However open you can be. I want to figure that out. Everyone puts that to the table. You could say, I'm asking for a friend if you're nervous. Yeah, I'm asking for a friend. I want to get protection over fat belly Hector and not feeling hurt every time looks at my belly. Yeah, that's what I want protection. Yeah, they keep saying, no, eat more food. You look like a Buddha. I'm like, shut up. That makes me feel worse. Anyway, I want protection from that. And so go around once in your group, say, hi, I'm John from Texas. I want protection from the belly. It hurts my heart. Yeah. Okay, good. Secondly, I want you to, for each of you to give each other suggestions on the old way of taking refuge, the way that doesn't work. Yeah. Hector, go on a diet. Yeah. That'll get rid of your belly. We really believe that, right? And if we think a diet will fix it, then you should ask, do all diets fix it? Does everyone that go on a diet lose their belly? Yeah, and then your mind begins to have problems and you're going to find where your actual refuge is. And then I'm going to ask you to consider what would it mean to place my mind on any one of the 3 jewels, which in essence it's emptiness, right? The fact that whether they are on a diet or not is not what will cause their experience of themselves. Something else is at work here that doesn't have a nature. What brings that nature into being? What brings that positive nature into being? What's real protection here? And it begins with understanding. Does that make sense? You're going to struggle a little bit, and then next week we're going to resolve that struggle. That's what I said at the beginning. Does that make sense? We got a thumbs up. Now, if you are a teacher at 3 jewels, you obviously know these answers. Do not go into the breakout room. You'll remain with me, and then I'll allocate you to the breakout rooms to try and help people come to answers for themselves. So feel free to help them if they're stuck or whatever. Don't give them all the answers. So again, if you're a teacher at 3 jewels, teach meditation or any of this Dharma, do not accept the invite to the breakout group. Stay here and I'll manually move you. Everyone else who's studying this or doing the homeworks, as soon as I send you the breakout rooms, you'll have 20 minutes to do that. Everyone good? Thumbs up, please. Understand the instructions. No questions. Good. Here we go. Let me see if I can do that. Stop sharing the dumb screen. Go to the breakout rooms. Create 9 of them. And enjoy. Get to know each other. Be nice to each other. Hi, Marcial. I said it. Here we go. Accept. If you're at 3 jewels as a teacher, stay here and I'll allocate you. Javier, I'm going to put you on group 1 because you're the only one there, so you can accept. Yeah. Maya, you can accept and you'll be in that group with, actually, Maya, you can accept, yeah, your group. Rachel, hold off. Miriam, you can accept your group. You'll be going in with Janine. Have a good time.
I have to run to teach Hector. I have to teach Medi at 9. I love you.
Oh, okay. No problem. Janine is there. You're good. Blessings. Tanya, you can join. Maria, you can join. Ming, you can join. Pooh, you can join. Zoe, you can join. Christina, Gabriel, please join. And Stephen, you can join. Leah, you can join, and I'm going to put Rachel in your group, I think. Diego, I can't find you.
I can't join.
Mackenzie, you can join your group. Diego, can't find you. Kelly, still can't find you. Here we go. Hi, Kelly. I don't know why you're not in a group. Do you have an invite, Kelly?
10.
Let me look.
I have group 10.
Oh, I see why. My bad. Yes, Diego, you can join. Priya, I'm moving you to 9.
Hector, this is Rachel. You said my name, but I'm not sure if you wanted me to click.
Yeah, I haven't directed you yet.
Oh, okay.
Kelly, you can join.
No, he's not.
Sam, you can join.
Try.
So Priya, you should be invited already. Yeah, I moved you. Thank you. We got Rachel. You're with Maya. Rachel and Santi, you can join. And Sarah, still looking for you. What's it say to you? 10?
10, yeah.
Let me ask you, see if I can move you to 8. You'll have Diego in there, okay?
Okay.
Who else do I have here? Hector, Jane, Christina, okay. Jane, are you there? Hi, Christina. Can you join your group?
I'm here. I didn't know how to go off mute when it was, I don't know, had that alert.
You can agree and follow the prompt. You can join group. What's your group number?
Oh, I don't see it now though.
Or just
I see. Yep.
cool. Thank you. Pooja, are you there? Hi, Sam. I can't hear you. You're muted.
I got kicked out. I was in group 10.
Awesome. Here I go.
Thank you.
Are they getting it? Do you know what?
Yeah.
Do they know what? Here it goes.
Yeah.
Enjoy. You all just ejected out of that. You didn't even wait for the 60 seconds. You're like, I'm out of there. Peace out. Hi, Teddy. Hi, Kirby. Lucien. Elizabeth.
This was
Okay.
so cool, Hector.
Good. I like that you just pressed eject. Yeah. Everyone's like, I'm not waiting for that. That was uncomfortable. Hi, Laurie. Oh, hi, Becky.
Did you say I was first ejected?
No, when I sent the message to say close all breakout groups, people have an option to stay there 60 seconds or get out, and you all got out.
I didn't see the 60-second option.
If you just stay chatting,
Just
you
all
would.
want to get out of samsara quicker.
I know. Everyone's like, get me out of this discussion on the things we need protection from. Like, let's jump out quickly.
I don't want to talk about things I need protection from with people who I don't know. No.
I know. It's a little discomfort. Welcome back, everyone.
Obviously, you were not in our group.
I popped into as many groups as I could, and then I was like sucked into some, and I couldn't jump to all. Welcome back, everyone. Okay, I think there is a couple of emoji options for you to say, how was that exercise? So you either do thumbs up if it was great, or like that. If it was like, oh my God, what do you do to me? Do the O face in the, it's okay to do that. Or is there another one? Celebration, if your group was like amazing. I popped into a couple of groups. They were really into it. They were like, hold on a minute, you know. Good. Now the chat is open. Go to town. There's only 10 minutes. Don't go to town. I take that back. Yeah. Don't over chat. Thanks everyone for coming back. I think we've got nearly everyone back. We've got maybe one more group popping back in. Okay, congratulations, success. I'm going to ask who was in group 1 and Javier, who's the most vocal person in your group that you'd like to nominate just to share what was the main theme? Lauren, where were you?
I would, why not? I'm going to nominate Mackenzie.
Good. Mackenzie, off you go. Just quickly, just tell me the theme of your group. Like, what was the main thing you think your group was looking for protection for?
Not feeling love in every single moment of the day. So having resistance.
Wow.
Having resistance like when we wake up, having resistance when we're doing our career, having resistance when we're with our partner. Like, why aren't we feeling love all the time?
That's an awesome, weird group. No, really good. Any suggestions? What did you guys come up with? How would you take refuge
out of Brooklyn?
You're not feeling love? Huh?
You can't live in Brooklyn. No, that was just a joke because most people were in Brooklyn in our group. But,
get out of Brooklyn. Is that relative refuge or ultimate refuge?
Relative.
Good. Okay.
But we were having really interesting discussions about how it's just our mind perceiving, you know, the career as the thing that makes us feel like capitalism sucks, or like money is this like dirty thing, or we're putting out too much love and we're draining ourselves. Or
so where could you actually get protection? By thinking or experiencing or acting in which ways? Did you get to that or not yet?
A little bit. We talked about changing our like limiting beliefs around what we currently are projecting onto these things like career, boyfriend, that kind of stuff.
Changing our limiting beliefs about what we're projecting. Okay, good. Thank you. I'm going to jump to group 2. Who was group 2?
It was I, not just you, and Santi.
Thank you.
What?
Okay.
No, I know. He's saying who was leading it. Do you want all the names of the group, Hector?
No, I just want to know generally what the people in your group came up with.
Yeah.
Was the main thing they needed refuge from.
It was cool because it was pretty much what I needed to talk about tonight. It was all about identity, how we see ourselves, and wanting to break free from that. That was the general theme. Like, I don't believe that I can truly become the person that I want to become.
Awesome. Okay. That it's so cool to get these weird perspectives, right? Because the obvious thing people are seeking protection through is all this other stuff, but that's really cool because got rid of that. That's a big one. Did you come up with any ultimate refuge?
We were sort of reviewing what it meant to bring emptiness into our minds when it comes to thoughts, and it comes to like looking at who we are as people. Like, what does it look like to apply that? Chrissy suggested a future refuge practice. And what we started to get into is like, how does this really work? Like, when do I start to actually believe that I can become that person? And like, how long, what does it feel like when it flips over into, oh, the emptiness is dissolving that pain or that fear or that self-concept. So it felt like,
I love that you went there, because the definition of refuge, I don't know if you saw it, is there's a problem, a fear or a concern or whatever you all labeled. And then refuge means when the mind of its own accord, all by itself, naturally jumps to any one of the three jewels. The emptiness of my mind, or the emptiness of things, or someone that can help me understand the emptiness of this. When your mind of its own accord, right? And this is like, there's some Buddhists that are not Buddhists, that aren't going for refuge. There's some monks and nuns and practitioners who don't do that of their own accord, me included. Like, I'm going to get full by drinking this water. My mind doesn't of its own accord do that. So it's really cool you're thinking that way. I want to get through at least the essence of each group. Sorry, I'm rushing. Group 3, who was that?
I was in that group.
Who was that?
Janine.
Oh, Janine, tell me a little bit about the flavor from your group, the main essence that we were looking for refuge from, main things.
So the main things were, initially we were talking about rejection, and then and we're talking about how we could work with emptiness there. And then the bulk of the time was actually spent discussing Trump. And and it went a couple of different ways. It went judgment, but where we spent a lot of time on was anxiety of things in the future, and also being upset and having the anxiety feeling come from just what you're perceiving, whether it's the difference between opinions. Lynn was saying she was discussing with a business person today who really likes Trump, and how to deal with being confronted with that. And then also the anxiety, Tyler was sharing, like the anxiety of the future, like what could happen after the election. And then we were trying to pick, we felt like any of the three jewels could be suitable here. But one, and we didn't get to the full end of the discussion, but we were talking about how it's also a little bit anxiety ridden to look at the fact that this is your karma, and that you did these actions in the past to perceive a Trump in this way. And then also, but how to be excited and motivated and find refuge in the fact that just like you caused it, that you could change it. And that's about where we ended up out of time.
That's amazing. You got there so quick. So you were like, I wanted to get you an awareness of some discomfort, and also to understand we all have different perspectives of what we need refuge from, right? So that's really advanced. That's really cool, because if your mind is going to do it of its own accord, you need to go to the emptiness gym over and over and over and over until it happens of its own accord. Yeah. And that is why we have Buddhist practice. Yeah. Group 4, who was Lauren, off you go.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll speak for my group. It was a great group. We talked about basically the stories that like ruminate in our heads that just don't serve us. Whether that's like we're super jealous, or we like look to our partner to like make us happy, or these thoughts just fly in that are just like so not serving. And then we talked through how we can really be mindful in the present moments to see where we're feeding those stories, and then catch it right in the bum if we can. So And then
Oh my God.
yeah, about a lot more things, but that's basically the.
No, that's awesome. If this is true, right, which is just a theory, if we're projecting this thing, then there's something in us continuing to project that. And I love your language. You said, as it's happening, if I could catch it, you might prevent yourself from causing more of the same. Amazing, like really cool. Thank you, Lauren. Group 5. Who's Elizabeth? Muted.
Lucienne is our spokesperson. Come on, Lucienne.
Oh, Lucienne, off you go.
Hi.
Where are you?
Okay, I'm here. So I think our overarching theme was self-worth, and this coming from expectations that we have of ourselves. And then because of these expectations that we're placing on ourselves to be worth more, we were accumulating things. So whether it was an accumulation of study, an accumulation of perhaps drinking, or accumulation of whatever it might be, things even, we're accumulating to create a sense of worth and self, which of course is coming from these expectations and underlying anxieties. And our path out of that was less is more. So we're, you know, in this accumulation, like a physical accumulation, and the less is more path is, you know, trusting the teachings and the Dharma, and that not being material, that not being tangible, but definitely it's experiential and it's felt. And you know, having that be your accumulation, I suppose, which is, you know, stripping back the layers of the stories and the thoughts and the perpetuation of stresses and anxieties coming from the expectations, and just that.
Lucienne, that's awesome. The fact that you are actually looking for a new way out, each of your groups, makes you wake upist, right? You're building up the notion that there's a different way, right? Now, I can't wait for you to do course 5, because it's not, you start with accumulating less. In the Buddhist path, you start by just being satisfied with what you have, but that's not enough. You got to produce the appearance of abundance. And I'm going to throw this out there: to produce the seeds of abundance in your mind, so they project abundance, feeling worthful, yeah, you better give worth to others. You better record your mind making others worthy, or helping people be abundant to within your capacity. That seeds your mind to then let those seeds flower and then be forced to experience everything as abundant around you. That's the theory. We'll get to it in 5, but you hit it on the head. It's so cool. Now, very conscious of time. I'm so sorry I didn't get to every group. I want to finish on time, but what I'll do, if you give me 3 minutes, I'm going to group to group 5, 6, group 6, and just give me the essence of what you want refuge for, and then group 7, group 8, group 9, group 10. We'll do it quickly. Yeah, so we were talking mostly about this, and then next group. Is that good? At least everyone, we get a flavor. So who's group 6? Who's group 7?
I'll speak for group 7. Our overall theme was we are seeking refuge from not trusting ourselves.
Awesome. Group 8. No, I can't do math. Yeah.
I'll speak for group 8. Our whole theme was basically about self-doubt, and we all felt like imposters.
Awesome. I carry that too. I love it because together we're going to solve it all, right, group? I can't count. Maciel, what was your group? 8?
Yes.
Group 9, I think, comes after that. I'm taking refuge from math. Group 9? Group 9?
We wanted protection, I think, mostly from fear of not knowing, fear of violence, fear of money, many fears.
Wow, cool. Imagine for you all if fear was gone. If fear, like that would be result refuge. Fear was gone. What would you do tomorrow, tonight? Group next.
6, no, group 6, they didn't come in. I want to see what they were saying.
Oh, who's group 6? They didn't
They all
vote,
left, I
so-
guess.
Was it us?
No.
I don't know. I don't.
I think it is, Steve.
see
Yeah.
group number, so I don't know.
I don't know what number was that us?
Maybe.
Right, let's call it you. Let's call it you, group 6.
Okay. The essence of our group was we wanted more always. We wanted what else? I don't know. George, do you want to sum it up for us?
Well, protection from anger, and in certain cases from the fear of repeating maybe past behaviors when you see them from the outside, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So when you see yourself being part of the problem and sort of accepting it,
or
you want freedom from that.
Seeing something in the past that you participated in, or allowed yourself to be a participant in, to be hurt, to whatever, and the fear of that being something to want protection from repeating that. If that.
Yeah, they call it samsara. That's cool. Mini cycles. I think group 10 or 9. Did I miss 9? 10. Group 10.
Group 10. So I'll go for group 10, Hector. We talked about a couple things. We talked about physical pain. We talked about imposter syndrome as well. And we talked about anxiety. And I think just a quick recap was how quickly everybody started to help each other. And we came to the conclusion of really the only way you're going to get is to give. So it was nice.
That's so awesome. Thank you, Anthony, and whoever's in that group. Did I miss any other group? Were there more groups? I didn't count. Going once, going twice. You're all amazing. You're lovely. We cannot finish the class without doing the dedication of all this goodness we just did. Hector's about to go to the computer. And Anthony, can you be weird with us? Can you do the mandala offering? Is that good? Since you went last?
Sure. I'll do my best.
Here we go.
Okay.
Let's dedicate all this goodness that we all did together by opening up to each other and hoping and looking for a better way. Let's just wish everyone else that's seeking this can get it too tonight. It lands on them tonight.
Awesome. Sashi Puki Jushin Tran Rirab Lingshi Ninde Gimpadi Sangye Shindu Nite Uarki Drokun Namda Shinla Chuparsho Indam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niratayami Gewa Di Keoku Sunam Yeshe Sosokshin Sunam Leshe Lejunwe Dampa Kuni Tuparsho.
Oh, you're all amazing creatures. Congratulations. Take this goodness in your minds to bed. Let it grow in your heads, in your heart. Except Lucien, I think you're waking up, right? Who's like in Australia doing a thing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining. Any announcements, Stephen or Rachel, you want to make? I forgot.
We have a Kitchery cleanse coming up this week, if anyone's interested in that. I know that seems like so unrelated to what we just, I'm just thinking off the top. If you guys are interested in doing an autumn cleanse to support your adrenal health, to support your immune system, we've got awesome cleanse. That's my announcement.
Okay, you're so awesome. Thanks. And I'll do a better job with the chat by opening it up early. I think I'll also do a better job at the timing to give a breakout group so then Q&A can happen. So I think I talked over Javier all afternoon. Sorry, Javier.
Sorry, I was talking.
I love you. Thank you.
No, but before everybody go, I want to just like add one thing, because one of my takeaways when I was first starting, so Refuge comes up in the second course of 18 courses, right? So it's like really early to like, what's this Refuge thing and all this emptiness thing? Bottom line, like all this comes down to at the very beginning of your Buddhist knowledge career, you have to understand that it is your responsibility. There's nothing that's going to save you but you. That's what emptiness really is. That's what karma and emptiness comes down to, that you have to do it yourself. Hector's not going to save you. Sum's not going to save you. The teachings are not going to save you. You are perceiving everything because of your past deeds, thoughts, and actions, and words, thoughts, and actions. That's what refuge is, bottom line. It's up to you to wake up. Everything else is just like nice words that sound great, and they're presented in a fun way. That's it. That's all I wanted to add to close up.
Thank you. Love you all. Good night. Good night. Lucien, go to work.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Okay. No